Hey everyone, welcome to Loaners, your channel for all things student loans. I'm Tosh.
And I'm Demi.
So if you haven't already heard, y'all, for those folks that have loans, you should be elated right now. So what I want you all to know is that the Biden administration has given us a temporary relief, meaning for those folks who make $125,000 and are independent, they're single household members. As long as you don't make above that, you are getting $10,000 of relief, meaning that they're wiping out your debt. Okay. For those couples that make over, I believe it's 250,000, you also are eligible for this as well. Just make sure that you are reading into those details, and we're going to come out with those details as we get them a little bit more and things become a little more clear, because right now they're pretty broad and general.
Yes. And you mean under 250,000, not
under
over.
250,000. Under 250,000. I apologize. And then I believe for those Pell Grant folks, I'm one of those. I do want you to know that there's extra relief coming to you with another $10,000 of relief, wiping out that debt. So that would come up to approximately $20,000 of relief for those folks. All right. So the reason why we're here today is, one more time, we're going to have a discussion about this loan forgiveness. And the reason why is because I had a couple of questions thrown at me by another person that was really interested in student loans. And so I'm just going to pose them to you, and I just want to get like your thoughts about them, because I definitely was like, I don't know, but I definitely have thought about this before. And I know other folks are thinking about this too, and you should be.
Again, this is just my opinion, and these are things that I've pulled together from, reading a lot about student loans. It is kind of like a hobby, hence why we have this channel. Talking to people who are well-versed in economy, government, global economics, and as well as just like within the US. So this is kind of where I'm forming my opinion from, but I don't think that this 10K, although I like it and I want it because I need the help, I don't think it is anywhere near a long-term solution. It is definitely a very quick Band-Aid. The Biden administration is not doing this for our benefit. They're doing this so they can get reelected. Like, let's all be real. We're transparent. We know how the government works. Like, it's fine to say. It kind of is like a way to appease us because so many people are suffering from student loan debt. I mean, it's a $1.5 trillion debt now. So one of the largest debts in all of our economy. But this is not going to have any kind of resolutions for people moving forward. This is really something that is going to need a brand new policy on how the U.S. Department of Education is governing our schools. And that's not just four-year universities. I think most people think four-year universities because, a lot of us go to four-year universities, a lot of us graduate from four-year universities, but you have to think trade schools, community colleges, for-profit universities, people who don't graduate, like all of that debt makes up this 1.5 or 6 trillion dollars. And so the US Department of Education needs to focus on the whole picture. How are we going to hold schools more accountable? Are we going to give them more funding via taxes? Are we going to tell them, hey, you have to cap on how much debt your students can accrue? Do we have to set more regulations on how they can justify their costs? Because they have to do that now. But I mean, as someone that went to a private school that can somehow justify it, I still walked out with $60,000 of debt. And no offense to my alma mater, but like with the degree in psychology, you cannot justify that. So the US Department really needs to focus on implementing better policies moving forward.
That was I think what you left on that last comment was something that this one person also posted.
Really speak to economy too much. Like, I'm very much a novice in it, but my biggest hypothesis going in is that the way some of our government leaders see it is like, why should we be helping them out? Also, a little part of me, like the cynic in me, is thinking, you know, our government leaders, they don't have a lot to lose monetarily from people like you and I not being able to pay off our debt. We don't contribute to them in any way. So they rather look out for themselves than for us. And I mean, that's a problem we keep seeing a lot of places. In general, government leaders are not putting money into schools expecting a return for them personally, their economy, you know?
But we want that. Like, we
Oh,
want
yeah.
the government to be investing within their schools, right? That
Yeah.
right. I think it's like the Competes Act, right? That's trying to be pushed right now. And I'm all for the Competes Act. We should be competing with our rival or adversaries, right?
Yeah.
And I think the Competes Act does have a little bit of stuff in it to help push us into being more STEM driven and driving students and pulling students out of freaking psychology and getting them into really productive degrees.
I think it'll be smart to have another video on like what the government needs to do to kind of get our students back into a place where, you know, we're contributing to the goal, to how we function as a whole economy, and how schools can really focus on that during their administration process, but also like high schools. Like, are we motivating students to actually do the trades that they want? Or are we just saying, hey, you got to go to college and that's it? So we'll have another video on that, but I hope
seriously, that college going culture type of chants, they need to be modified. All right, last question, because I do need to get going today. Can you believe someone threw a question like this out?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I think, you know, ultimately, one of the things that every school is trying to do right now is survive, right? There are so many colleges, community colleges, especially for-profit colleges, that they are trying to survive, and that means bringing in people. So I had a wonderful discussion about this actually pre-COVID with someone who works in administration at my alma mater. And there was a discussion about how we are seeing trends of less and less people wanting to go to colleges because they're too expensive. So then colleges that survive are going to have to really strap themselves in and say, like, how are we going to survive with the tuition, with the endowment that we're going to get? How is that going to work? And are we going to actually be able to make it out of this? And so what a lot of colleges are doing is trying to incentivize new students to come to them. And so they are getting small parts of endowment and they're saying, hey, I have this new thing that you should come to. It's a new gym. It's a state-of-the-art building, whatever it is. And so what they're doing is they're hoping to get people in, and then the people who come in, the tuition kind of pays for the university to continue functioning, but it doesn't pay for it to prosper. So the goal is, as much as you can get people in, those people will then go out, get good jobs, and donate back. And that's how you see the profit happening in most universities, right? If universities don't get to that endowment, those are the universities that are going to sink. The reality is every university, every college, community college, whatever, every single one of them is a business. And so all of them are trying to make it to the next day, make it to the next school year. No one wants to go under. So they're trying to keep themselves alive. And that's going to be, you know, from the little Cal states that are usually like have a huge chunk of funding from taxes, to the private schools that have to really, really rely on the people they bring in. So
thank you for joining me and sharing your knowledge with me. it is always great to connect about student loans, and I cannot wait to connect back with our audience so that way we can go over all of that relief that is coming around in October. We will be releasing another video about the Biden administration's detailed loan forgiveness information. So stay tuned, and we will even provide you with the links to the paperwork just in case if you don't automatically qualify for that relief.
Yeah, and you guys, if you have any kind of opinions about this, questions about, by
Do
all means,
it.
put it in the comment box. Be nice though. So
Yeah, of course, always love, always love. All right, student loaners, thank you for joining us today. We're suffering together, but getting through this together. I hope you all have a good one. Join us again next time. Bye, loaners.
bye, loaners.